What's going on, everyone? Dave from Fan Futsal here, going to do a rapid match recap for the Arsenal-Liverpool match that we just watched. It's my brother Matt, City fan. He's going to jump in, give his thoughts as well. Coming to you live from my parents' house, home for the holidays, and we are in our brother's bedroom, Christian, who is not with us, but that's all right. All right, so before the match, some of my thoughts, I was looking at Maitland Niles at left back versus Salah. I didn't know how that matchup was going to be. I know Salah is really talented, and Maitland Niles is a young player, up and coming. I was worried about that. A little bit worried about Lovren. He has been in a spotty run of form, so I didn't know if Arsenal was going to try to target him. Thought it was interesting, Wilshere over Ramsey. Found out later that Ramsey is actually injured. And I was just excited to see Wilshere. I've been watching him in the Europa League. He's been playing fairly well, so I was interested to see how he would be. Was a little skeptical of Monreal as a center back in a four-man back line. I know he's been playing that, but traditionally he is more of an outside back, so I didn't know how that was going to go for him. Ozil's been playing well. Sanchez has not, and that kind of played out throughout the match. Sanchez did end up getting a goal, but I thought it was really wasteful throughout. And Liverpool was basically in a 4-2-4 formation. They only really had a two-man center midfield with John and Henderson, so I didn't know how that was going to impact them. Matt? Any thoughts before the match? Were you looking for anything?
Yeah, I mean, both teams have pretty inexperienced outside backs and pretty experienced wingers, so I thought that was always going to be a pretty interesting part of the match. And I was just disappointed not to see Oxlade starting for Liverpool, going back to the Emirates. I thought that would have been just a more entertaining part for the fans to, talk about. But
yeah, give him some shtick, yeah, which they did when he came on. Yeah. So that was before the match. So then match kicked off, and Arsenal was basically in a 4-4-2, at least for the first 15 or so minutes. Sanchez was staying much higher, right up next to Lacazette. And eventually they fell back more into a 4-2-3-1 formation. But initially they were starting more of a 4-4-2 formation, which I found to be interesting. Firmino, Coutinho, and Mane were really interchanging in the Liverpool front line, whereas Salah was really staying wide on the right wing, which is typically how they play. But that was something that I was seeing and looking out for. Liverpool was doing something different that I wasn't expecting, in that they weren't really pressuring the player who was in possession of the ball the way that they normally do, and were really sort of clamping down on their options. And so I think you saw it throughout the first half. Arsenal was giving the ball away needlessly and sort of panicking in anticipation of that pressure, but it really wasn't coming as much from Liverpool. So I thought that was a smart tactic.
I thought there was also like a huge lack of movement from Arsenal, and there wasn't many options to even begin with. So it made Liverpool's job pretty easy.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was definitely when they were back in possession, and also in the attacking third. Yeah. They were definitely just very, very static throughout the first half.
I agree.
Yeah. Early sub. So the Henderson injury, I mean, it's unfortunate for Henderson, but Milner came in, plays pretty much the same way. I don't think anything really tactically really switched up for Liverpool as a result of that. Ozil was really free floating for Arsenal. That's kind of how he plays always, but he was on the right wing, left wing. He was everywhere and really involved for them. Arsenal panicking, already mentioned that. The unforced errors, already mentioned all of this. Arsenal, Liverpool was really targeting the crosses, something you noticed, which was they were crossing from the left side, trying to get to the back post against Maitland Niles, right? Yeah, they were really sort of targeting that. That seemed to be a tactic that they were really going after, especially in the first half. Liverpool goal, I thought, was fortunate. Now, it was great build-up play. Milner hit that fantastic ball to spring Salah, and I thought the NBC Sports team did a good job breaking it down at the half. Maitland Niles got drawn in and left all that space. But at the end of the day, I thought it was really fortunate. I mean, the deflection happened, and Koscielny deflected it into Coutinho's path. But, I mean, I don't know what more Koscielny really could have done there.
Yeah, he closed down the cross. He got a piece of the ball. It wasn't a clean hit into the box. I mean, it was just fortunate where the ball ended up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he maybe could have engaged earlier, but Salah is so tricky and quick that, I mean, it may have been that he beat Koscielny earlier. Koscielny tried to engage. So I thought it was harsh that, who was it? One of the announcers was really coming down on Koscielny. Yeah. So I didn't really love that. I thought Salah was a little bit casual on that. Overall, it was wide open soccer throughout the match. I don't think it was the best version of soccer that, maybe tacticians want to see, but it was entertaining as hell for especially casual fans. So bad soccer, but ultimately entertaining. I thought in the first half, Wilshere was really, really deep, and he wasn't effective. I think he's a better player when he was further up the field, and you saw that in the second half. He was a lot better on that front. Already talked about Liverpool not Now, pressuring Liverpool did not finish their chances. They should have been up 2-3, maybe 4-0 at the half. And
Yeah.
they just were not finishing.
Yeah, I agree. The quick free kick from Coutinho was very well worked out, and then Lovren had a
Lovren.
Yeah, he had a Lovren there.
Yeah.
And Salah could have finished at the end of the half, and then Mane tried the spectacular bicycle kick and it just didn't work.
Yep. Yeah. So that was disappointing. I also thought Arsenal defensively was getting very disconnected in the midfield and defense. They were just leaving huge gaps in possession for Liverpool to exploit. And I thought there was just way too much space. Way too much space. So that was my thoughts at the end of the first half. Anything else about the first half you want to throw in?
It was just pretty much dominated by Liverpool.
Absolutely. Even though I know we talked a little bit, Liverpool may not have been in possession and may not have been dominant to a certain extent, but they seem to be in control.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a better word.
Yeah. But they were clearly in control. Second half started Mustafi on for Monreal, injury related. The one thing that happened with that is Koscielny flipped to the other center back spot, and I'm always sort of skeptical or hesitant when that happens because it is an adjustment when a player who played the first half as right center back then has to move to left center back or vice versa. There is a little bit of an adjustment. Didn't amount to anything, but I always was on the lookout for that, and it ultimately didn't amount to anything. Liverpool's second goal was basically a 2-on-4 break, and Arsenal just were so ill-disciplined. They just got lost. They left tons of space, and again, it was a fortunate deflection for Salah, but Arsenal was just ill-disciplined, just running around almost like they were just swarming to the ball, and they were just leaving gaps, and it was just way too easy for Liverpool. It was a 2-on-4 break.
Yeah, it was just throughout the whole game there was just gaps, and even though the tactics changed, there were still gaps at different points throughout the game. No matter where on the field they could change, where in the field there were gaps, but I think there was just a pretty open game at certain points of the field throughout the whole time.
Absolutely. Then let's get to Arsenal's goals, because Arsenal down 2-0 rallied out of seemingly nowhere to go up 3-2. So the first one, I thought it was really poor from Gomez. I don't think they made a big enough deal about this on the broadcast. Gomez was standing there waiting for the ball to come to him. As a defender, you can't do that. I mean, he even had a look over his shoulder. He knew Alexis was behind him. He didn't know that he was crashing, but he has to come to that ball and meet it, and he can't wait for it to come to him. So I really fault him for that goal. Now, on top of that, I noticed this throughout the second half particularly. I think Arsenal did a good job of exploiting it. Gomez and Robertson, the two outside backs for Liverpool, had no help defensively, especially from the midfield. And Arsenal finally realized that it took them long enough, but they were finally exploiting that,
Yeah, I saw one play. Liverpool broke through like the first line, or Arsenal broke through Liverpool's first line of defense, and Salah just completely didn't even turn around to look where what was going on, and then he was just standing up top and just left the defenders out to dry.
Yeah. So that was going on throughout the second half in particular. Liverpool's second goal, 100% Mignolet's fault. I mean, you're going to, as a team, I think Liverpool is going to give Xhaka that shot 100 times out of 100. If he beats you from 25 out on a somewhat bouncing ball, you give him the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, great goal. But in this one, the ball's hit directly at Mignolet. Don't know why he goes with one hand. I can't for the life of me understand that.
It was a very well hit or struck ball and knuckling, but at this level, most shots are going to be knuckling. Most shots are going to be hit that hard. You got to know what to do in that situation.
Absolutely. So I thought that was really poor from him. He needed to go with two hands there. And then right after that, Arsenal gets a third goal. And again, I'm going to follow Gomez on this. Ozil makes a run through midfield. And the midfielders need to track Ozil's run better. But basically, Liverpool had the ball. They gave it away. And two passes, Arsenal's in and scoring a goal. And really, it's one pass from, I can't remember if it's Xhaka or Wilshere, to give it to Ozil. Ozil has a ton of space. He plays it into Lacazette. And Lacazette holds the ball up seemingly well, and Ozil just runs through the Liverpool defense, and Gomez is caught, say this is the goal. Gomez is caught trying to worry about Sanchez over here when Ozil's coming right between. He needs to step.
I think he saw Ozil's run, and you could see in his face during the run, right when Ozil was getting it, he just disappointment, because he knew he couldn't make the challenge, or else that was going to be a penalty. And I think he saw the play happening, was just a split second too late to slide over. Yeah,
but if he saw the play, he just needed to recognize it earlier. Maybe he's a young player, maybe it needs to come with experience, but he needs to tuck in more, because Sanchez did a good job of drawing him over to the side. But ultimately, again, I'm going to fault him a little bit. And also, it's tough to fault Mignolet there, but I don't know what Mignolet's doing on that when he's diving. He's diving sideways, almost making himself smaller. We're getting blurry here. I don't know what that's about. There you go. Making himself smaller rather than, you see with De Gea, he does a fantastic job of making himself big and making those saves. Yeah. So it's tough to fault Mignolet there. I blame Gomez, but would have been nice to have Mignolet, make a save. Being a I'm a Liverpool fan, so that was tough to see. And then Arsenal continued to be very attacking and continued to be spread out. I know you mentioned it before, but you would have thought that they maybe had a slight thought of, hey, all right, we're up 3-2 now. Let's get at least a little bit better defensive shape, because Wilshere was still committing to the attack. And, in the first half, he was too deep. And then the second half, it seemed like he was too far forward. And Liverpool made one pass, and then it was just wide open.
Yeah, I had a comment because I think City do a really good job of playing like a similar style throughout the entire game. And I saw in Liverpool the first half they played as a team defensively, and then in the second half they had like 3, sometimes 4 people ahead of the ball. So they were defending with 6, 7 people, and it was just strange that they were already leading and putting more numbers forward than they did in the first half. I was just weird to see it change, not being consistent throughout the whole match.
It doesn't make sense to us, especially if what you're doing is working. I mean, yes, there's an element of needing to adapt to what the other team is doing, but you would have liked to have seen them kind of get their act together better. And Liverpool came back and, to their credit, got a third goal. I was a little bit fortunate on a couple different instances. I thought Koscielny got lost in the, maybe it was him playing, center back, because I thought he got drawn more to right center back and left a gap for Firmino to exploit, and was just wide open in the center of defense. I mean, it was a nice ball in. I can't remember who played it, but Firmino did well to get space, took a touch, hit a nice shot. Czech, again, I think it could be fairly harsh to criticize him, but he likely wishes he would have tipped it around or gotten a better hand to that, because I actually looked away from the television and I thought it was saved. I was upset that it was saved, and we were watching with my father, and he was just like, what are you doing? Like, there's a goal here. So I thought it was a little harsh, but he maybe should have done better there. Distribution. So Czech's distribution throughout the match, I thought was really spotty. I thought, he had a couple different throws, a couple different kicks, a couple punts that you were just left scratching your head. I mean, clearly Arsenal was trying to play quick and get it out, but I thought it was a little bit too rushed. And he's no Ederson, right, Matt?
Yeah. We were talking about that the other day. Ederson's ability to distribute from the back and let City go attacking. But our Czech was not that today.
No, he was not. Then Liverpool did an interesting tactical thing when they were down about 20 minutes left. Salah then moved from outside. He moved up to more center forward. Firmino dropped in behind, and Mane went to right wing, Coutinho on the left wing. Again, it didn't really amount to anything, but it was just a tactical wrinkle that Klopp was trying to sort of mix things up there. When Wijnaldum came on for Mane, I expected Liverpool to shift to a 4-3-3. They more shifted to 5-4-1, which, again, I thought was fairly interesting. And then Oxlade-Chamberlain came in and really just Liverpool, it seemed like once they got back to 3-3, they were just buckling things down, happy with getting out of there with a point. So at the end of the day, highly entertaining match. Wasn't the best tactical or display of soccer, but hell, it was entertaining as hell from my perspective.
At points I would argue that it was the most entertaining Premier League match I've seen this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So good start to the holiday period for the Premier League, and I'm excited to watch a bunch more soccer over these next few weeks. So that was it. Let us know if you agree, disagree with any of our analysis in the comment section, and I'm sure we'll be doing another one of these videos soon. Thanks for watching. We will talk to you soon. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, everyone. See ya.